Hey guys! Welcome to Free Tutorial TV and Python tutorial for beginner. In this video we will learn how to use exception handling in Python. So first of all, what are the exceptions? So an exception is an event which occurs during the execution of a program that disrupts the normal flow of the program. So basically, exception is an unexpected event which disrupts the normal flow of the program. So let me show you some examples of exceptions which may occur during the execution of our program. So to start with, I'm going to open up PyCharm Python console, and then I'm going to maximize this PyCharm Python control. And let me also just clear this terminal, so we will start from the top. So let's say we have a number and we divide this number by 0, and then we press enter. It's going to give us this exception which says 0 division error. So this 0 division error is an exception when you divide anything by 0 in Python. Let me show you some more examples. So let's say I want to add a number and a string. Let's say 10 plus 10, but this 10 is an integer and this 10 is a string. And when I ran the command, it says type error, unsupported operator types for int and string. So we cannot add a number and string in Python. And so this type is another kind of exception. Let's say I'm going to just use a variable name ABC which I haven't declared until now. And when I press enter, it's going to once again give me this exception which says name error. Name ABC is not defined, which is true because we haven't defined the name ABC, but we are calling this variable which we have defined. So we get this exception which says name error. Next, let me define a variable, and I'm going to assign some tuple values here, 1 and 2. And now what I want to do is I want to call some method, so you can see some method are available for this tuple. Now let's call some random method. Using this tuple variable, it will give us an error which says attribute at the tuple object has no attribute, whatever attribute I have provided here. So this attribute is not present in that tuple object. Also, when you call the method, let me call some other method which is not there. And once again when I press enter, once again I get this error. It says attribute error because this function is not present in that tuple object. So these are all exceptions, and by an attribute or name or type or 0 division error, all are exceptions in Python. Now if you want to see more exceptions, you can use the help in inbuilt method. And then you can write help built-ins and then press enter. It gives me the name error once again, because I need to first of all import this built-ins module. To import built-ins module, and I'm going to once again use help, and inside the parenthesis built-ins, and then press enter, which is going to give me this kind of output. And when I go at the top of this output, so let me just scroll at the top, and here you will see under the classes there is an object class, and under the object class there is a base exception class, and under the base exception class there is an exception class and another exception, that is a big list of exceptions which you can see here. So 0 division error we have already seen, or when you scroll down, name error we have already seen. So all the exceptions which Python may throw are all listed here. So if you want to see the list of all the exceptions, you can just give this method which is help built-ins. But before that you need to import this built-ins module, and then it's going to show you this kind of output, and you will also be able to see all these exceptions in Python. Now let me show you our real-life example of exceptions in Python. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define some variables here. So first variable is result, and I'm going to initialize it with the value none. And then I'm going to declare two variables that say a, which takes an input, and we want to ask the user to provide some numbers. So let's say number 1 using the variable a. And in the same way, and we are going to declare a variable b, but also ask the user to provide a second number. But you already know that this input will return the string, so we can just convert the string into a float. Let's say I'm going to just cast the output of this input string to float value. And then what I want to do is I want to save that division of the two numbers a and b into the result. So, it divided a by b. I want to save it into the result, and then at last I would just want to print the value of the result. Let's run this program. So right-click on the file name and then let me provide some numbers here. So 5 and 6 and press enter. It's going to give me the result, which is the division of these two numbers that we run the program. Once again, and this time I will provide 10. And the second number is equal to 0 here. And we know that when we divide some number y is 0, we get this exception which says 0 division error. And you will also observe that as soon as this error is thrown, so this error comes from this line 5. So when you click on this line, it shows us that this is coming from this line, which is the division of these two numbers. And as soon as this exception occurs, all the code which we want to execute after that will not be executed. So if you were printing this result here, but it's not printed, that we print something else here. So I'm going to just say, and then once again I'm going to run the program. I'm going to provide the same inputs here, and you can see neither this statement is printed nor the end is printed. So whenever an exception occurs, fighting stops whatever it is doing. So in our case, whenever this exception is thrown at this line, both these statements will not be executed. And why these two lines of code will not be executed? Because we haven't handled this exception. So Python allows us to handle the exception, which we are not doing right now. That's why it stops everything whenever this exception occurs. So how do we handle these type of exceptions? So you can handle these type of exceptions using try except keyword. So just try and then under that try, you write whatever you want to test. And then you write except keyword here. So just write accept, and then under that except you write some code which you perform when the exception is thrown. So I'm going to just say this error, which is float division error. Okay. So this is what I'm going to print. And don't forget to put colon in front of accept and try. So let me run the code and let me give the same condition. So 10 and second is 0. And this time you will see that this exception is not true. And the result is also printed and the end line is also printed. You can see here, and also this line is executed, which comes from the accept statement which says float division error. So whenever you use try except notation, first of all your code under that try will be evaluated. And if it throws some exception, then whatever code you write under that except will be executed. And then all the other statements will be executed, whatever comes after this try except code. So this time no error is thrown. And we have handled this error. And you can see clearly it says that float division by 0, which means it comes to that except condition. So now we are handling this error, which is 0 division error. Now in other condition, when this error is not thrown, so we will just give some valid value 10 and 5. So no 0 division will be thrown. And when I press enter, you will see that the result will be printed and end will be printed by these two lines, but no accept statement will be printed. So this statement is not executed, because this code has not thrown any error, because there is no error occurred. Now, as I have shown you that all the exceptions are the exception class, so we can also write the exception. And then we can just write this notation exception as E. And this will show us more details of the error. Okay. So I'm going to just write here, error is equal to, and then I'm going to just print whatever the content of it is. And once again, when I run the code and I really give a number, it does 0 here, and you will see it prints this and it says float division by 0. So this is printed using this keyword, which shows us the correct error. I have also shown you that this exception is the base class of 0 division, for example. And I will try to know the type of this error E. And when I run the code once again, and let me provide this input once again, you will see that this error is of type 0 division error. So we know that this exception is thrown from this class. So instead of writing this generic exception class, we can also use this zero division error here, and now whenever this specific error is thrown, then only this will be printed here. So let me run the code once again and let me give this input here. And you will see once again this line of code is printed using this statement. And that means zero division is caught by this line of code, and then the statement on under that is printed. Now let's say this line of code throws or some other kind of error other than zero division. So let me just remove this typecasting or float here. That means it's going to throw us some other kind of error which is not zero division error. Let me run the code now. And I will provide two numbers here once again, and you will see that now this area is different, which is type error. It says unsupported type string and float. So why is this happening? We are catching the exception using this except keyword, but we are only catching the zero division exception. We are not getting that type error exception. That's why our program is stopped. And these two lines of code is not executed. So you need to either use the base class of the exception, which is this one exception, and when you run the code, and when you write these input, it will be handled, and you can see this time type error is called. It's not a zero division either, but the type which comes because that type which we have provided here is string, and we are dividing the string by a float value which throws this error. So if you want to catch all the exceptions, you use this base class. But it's not a good practice. You need to have information about your exceptions. So I'm going to once again write this zero exception error here. And what I can do more here is I can add one more except statement here, and this time instead of zero division error, that I can say catch also type error. Okay. So I'm going to just write type error and here zero division. So we know from where this error is coming, and when I run the code once again and when I give the inputs, you will see that this error is coming from this line of code. So this except statement is catching the exception which is type error now, and I just added this typecast of float once again. And when I run the code once again, and then I provide then, and once again, you will see this error is caught by the other except statement, which is this statement which is used to catch the zero division error. So you can also provide multiple except statement in order to catch multiple exceptions in Python, and so this is how you can do exception handling in Python. There is more to exception handling which I will show you in the next video. I hope you have learned something new this time. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the channel. Have a nice day. See you in next video.